purpose of this walkthrough here is to provide an outline of how we can achieve getting Summer's work and life balance back to her system. Her main pain point here is, she's just mentally exhausted from managing both the business and the kids around the home. My end goal is easily within a few days that we can get her to a space to where she's having at least 1 to 2 free hours per day where everything is easily getting done that's supposed to be getting done, as well as in a place and system that's easily managed for next levels of growth. Her end vision, very simple. She wants to be able to have more time, loving the one that she loves, the husband, the kids, and the family. Right now, she just doesn't have the energy from it. So first, we have to get Summer's time freed up. Then her mental energy will start to be freed up, and then she'll have more of that time and energy for loving. How we're going to achieve this? First of all, get her into a system. This will get everything out of her head so that she can lead it. One of the first benefits of getting everything out of your head, which is where a lot of people manage it from, just by doing this and getting everything out into a different place outside of the head, this frees up an enormous amount of wasted mental energy on, hey, what do I have to do and when do I have to do it? Just even thinking about it creates so much stress and time and energy in the day. She's probably already spending anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours a day simply on thinking about these things. This includes both the business and the personal. I see that focusing on the personal area first is going to be the easiest and to start free things up. Getting her into a system, hey, imagine just knowing everything which has to be done, both work and personal, that it's completely trusting in that system, and it's all tracked, and we get a high amount of delegation once we determine what needs to be done, especially in the recurring points. And more importantly, while you two are doing things together, that it's streamlined, so you actually save a lot of time while you're doing things. There's only two parts of all goals that we want to do in life. First of all, it's one-time projects. Hey, once they're done, they're done. For example, I want to make the bushes look this way. I'm going to build this retaining wall, etc., etc. The other part is recurring items, things we do on a recurring basis, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, etc. Once they're all defined, we're going to hire people for a majority of all those recurring tasks. Very simple to do. In fact, I can even do the research. A good example of a one-time project is, hey, we're going to hire people for all the recurring items, get someone into play, get that into motion. That's very simple to do. A pain point that I also see is called management by, I think it's called abdication. For example, you talked about the landscaper. And what happens is when you get so busy and then roles aren't defined and the system isn't automated, that they start getting handed things, which isn't really their role in the first place to do. And it caused frustrations in their side. I heard you talk a lot how the landscaper was actually becoming frustrated that he was getting handed roles that don't belong to him. I had a lot of experience with this in even how fast our companies grew. A lot of bleeding roles. Things don't get done nearly as efficiently. It becomes a lack of control of what we can even hand off to them in their time. That solution is simple. We could define all that needs to be done, determine whether it's one time or recurring, and who's actually responsible for that. And to start to hire people for each role, which is clearly defined. And another beautiful part is basic procedures. When we start to get all these into something like Google Docs, there's absolute clarity on what needs to be done and how often with anyone and everyone. So it leaves absolute no room for vagueness. Once we leave room for vagueness, vagueness occurs. The importance of procedure, for example, I do bills every Thursday for all the companies and my personal stuff. I still have to use the procedure, even though it's pretty well known throughout all these years, simply as a reference checkpoint system. So when I look at it, it makes sure I do it correctly, and what's even more important is I'm doing it a lot faster by even not having a document to look at. So procedure is very key in writing them out, especially when it comes to hiring. And imagine if all of a sudden someone starts failing. Let's act like if it's your house cleaner or something like that, and you want to hire someone new. Simply, you have the document on everything which needs to be done and the basic procedure of everything that you desire, and it's handed off and trained so fast to the next person. Um, how to save lots of time while doing stuff. This is probably a later phase where Nick and Summer, you guys can have one simple system where even at the press of a keystroke, where everyone's on the same page all the time. Summer, you can easily hand off things for Nick to do, for example, if they have to be picked up, town and errand stuff. And he gets it right away, like on his phone. Um, Random thoughts on this. This would be great to work with Summer first with complete separation of the kids. Um, can this be done while I'm there? For example, when you guys came out, um, it's just best. This is hands down best done without them around, or at least if someone else is taking care of them. Um, think about all those interruptions and how they play even with the factor of Summer's life. The same would be happening if I was working with you side by side while we're trying to get these things done. So I know that you guys can get it with your family or anything like that, where hey, let's get some separation even just for 2 or 3 days. Um, and it's like pulling the metaphor, like I talked about before. It's like pulling the car off the track, so we can sit with it, um, get it vamped up, get everything completely dialed in, so that we can turn her more into like the IndyCar and the Ferrari, especially when it comes to the mind. Um, on the low end, what I see is these estimates on the time and money and emotional savings. I mean, even right at the beginning, within just a handful of hours, we can easily get 2 hours a day permanent at a minimum saved. That's 730 hours per year saved. If you value your time at, let's say, 100 per hour, which is always a fair one to do it at, that's 73,000 K per year saved. But it's not necessarily about the money saved. This is more about the emotional ROI, which means everything. Your control, your space, your relaxation, your time for yourself, time for loving yourself first. With that oxygen mask theory, you got to put it on yourself first before you put it on your kids. And then we'll get you to a space within a week to where, hey, you're actually going to start to feel what you want to feel, and get you a space where you're going to actually have time for loving your loved ones. And even, hey, what type of agreements can we get into place while we're there? Very simple on, let's say, 1 to 2 pages. Um, Maybe, hey, how often are Nick and Summer going to start? Bear with me, I'll hit the vibrate on that. Hey, what's your agreement on even how often you guys want to take a vacation together? It should be done a minimum of once a quarter. It's where you're getting the sense. Basic things like that. Um, Here's what I see in my guarantee and what I absolutely feel. Um, I would not be jumping upon this if I didn't know without a shadow of a doubt that all this is easily achievable at the bare minimum. Within 6 hours, you'll already be noticing and feeling the time savings and the emotional freedom. The good thing is about it, we can do immersion within a day or two. Hey, if it feels great, we continue. Where a lot of people make their money back is I do referrals. So I want you to become a crazy walking role model and firm believer so that you sell me. Um, Everyone does. Everyone absolutely does. For example, my most recent client, he's going to be paid for all himself simply by having another referrals, one other guy who's going to be paying for it. Um, yeah, for example, Adam paid for himself after I just completely dialed him on. He gets to rant and rave about me. Um, my normally hourly rate at it, which I'm charging right now, is at $250 an hour. If within these time hours you guys aren't feeling it within a couple days, I'll cut my rate 80%, $50 an hour, and I'll just buy my own ticket home. Um, I'm 110% confident we can deliver your desire and vision. Otherwise, if I don't, the risk is on me, and this money made for this time I spent is absolutely a complete loss. It would be a big risk to me to even do that, let alone in this Christmas season. Let's see what's next. The next action here is, hey, you two talking about it, determine, hey, what are the best dates for you able to be kid-free for, 2 to 3 days, and call me to coordinate. So can you give me a few options of when we can do it as soon as possible? Let's wait till after this Thanksgiving time. I am swamped with everything, but hey, I am passionate about freeing up this time and mental energy for people. I love when I get the feedback of how much happier they are. I love it when I can make employees 2 to 4 times as productive, where they're getting big raises, 50 to 100% right away. Um, I'm passionate about doing this. I absolutely love this shit. Absolutely love doing it. And I'm also a walking role model for this. I had the time when I was overwhelmed about 8, 9 years ago. A few different companies, my partnership with Ian, full-blown relationship. Hockey player, traveler. It's just a quest to do everything. And I did hit that tipping point, which caused, a major anxiety attack, and I just, I freaked out. And from there, the system of getting things done and David Allen fell into my lap. Since then, I've been able to get, about 5 to 10 times as much done in a quarter to half the time, really skyrocketing the productivity. All my companies have been in the top 20 of productivity by employee for the last 10 years, ever since I engaged in that. Um, and more importantly, you can get a lot bigger workload. Imagine being able to handle a lot more without the stress because of it's just fluent, it's delegated, it's streamlined. So you can actually not actually do a lot more in the business side, but this is more about freeing up the time so you can do a lot more of what you love to do. So you're having a lot more fulfilling life. Um, and I believe that what I get continuous feedback from on is people are looking at me that I'm very, hey, look at me, look how much I have going on. Operating businesses from remote locations, starting a new one, being a hockey player. I've been traveling ever since even I saw you guys. I was in Florida, then took off to Denver, then was able to come here with all my friends for 3 or 4 days. And right after you guys left, hey, I took off an impromptu trip to Vegas, came back, had this girl that I met from Denver, had her in for a few days. That I can actually accomplish it all and be very centered and Zen-minded. Um, I just my greatest gift would seeing you, both of you, within a couple weeks of um, finally seeing and feeling that vision of having that space. I'm telling you, it's the emotional ROI that's priceless, and that's how I feel um, in my life and what's there, and having a lot more control. So hey, uh, think it over, think the proposal over. I'd love to help you guys. I could fly out there just by talking to you, but hey, do that next action, talk with each other, and sit with that guarantee and those thoughts, and call me. I'd say we can easily achieve this easily. Love you guys a ton, and hope to hear back from you soon. Bye bye.